Hi there. This is my first video of my channel, and I want to start with an introduction explaining why I've decided to start the channel. Um, it's really for the purposes of, let's start with the story of my child. He has a difficult time articulating himself with other kids. He's 13, and I've seen him have friends in a one-on-one relationship, which is good, and he's worked his way through those and is able to communicate in those. But I know that when he goes to school or church and in a group that he's not comfortable in, he just shuts off completely, will not speak unless spoken to, says as few words as possible in response. If he can say one word, he will. If he can avoid speaking at all, he will. So, um, as his father, I know that's unhealthy for him. So I've come up with a plan of action to try to help him get more comfortable speaking in situations that are uncomfortable. And the best way that I found to start doing that is just in our house. Um, what we've been doing is we've been reading, my two sons together, I've been reading Chronicles of Narnia, the first book to them. And, we read the book, we read a chapter every other day. And what I've decided to have my older son do, the one that has the issues in speaking with people, is when we're sitting at the dinner table, I ask him to explain to my wife what the book's about and try to do as much detail as he possibly can because it's a subject he knows about because we've read it, and it's both good for his recall and it's good for just him being able to speak it out in word form. And he's struggling with it, but he is getting better at it. Um, we are also going through the book of Matthew in the Bible. So what we do is a chapter of Matthew and then a chapter of Chronicles of Narnia. And as we go through those each day, like I already told you what we do with Narnia, but then with the book of Matthew, like if you've ever read scripture, you'll see that each section is italicized, kind of explaining in like short words what is to come in the next section that you're about to read. So what he was doing was I told him he needed to write about it. So instead of writing about it, what he would do is copy and paste because he uses his computer to read it. So he'll pull it up on his computer, he'll copy and paste it over, and then he'll try to just change the words so that it's not just copied and pasted. So I finally told him, okay, from now on, no more copy and pasting. What you can do is copy and paste the heading for each section, and in doing so, each section, I want you to read each section and then in your own words write about it within that heading. So we started doing that, and we've seen some growth already, and this just started last week. But in doing this, I've realized that his mom and myself have very similar issues when it comes to interactions out in the world. Um, not in terms of like going to the grocery store, getting groceries, talking to people as needed in that respect, but say going to church. I'm in a discipleship group at church. I'm extremely uncomfortable saying anything out loud. Um, so these are some of the things that I'm experiencing myself. So the purpose of the channel is to do the same that I'm doing for my son for myself. Um, Having this camera on, and sorry about that, I have to pick the boys up in about 10 minutes. That's my reminder. But the purpose of this is basically to put in action what I'm having my son do. And this camera is as intimidating or more intimidating than speaking with a person face to face, because I know that this is going to be put on YouTube. I'm not looking for, you know, for a channel to blow up or anything like that. This is just a way for me to put my study into action in words rather than just written format. Because I write a lot of notes, I can internally think things through and put it on paper and think as I'm writing and change what I'm writing and all that. And putting thoughts to words is a skill that I've never developed. So that's the purpose of the channel. Um, the thing that has motivated me to actually move forward with this is I'm 38 years old. When I was 15, I went to a church and was told the gospel, and it was the gospel. It was probably a fractured version of the gospel. Um, I learned the things I needed to know, if that makes sense, in terms of that Christ died for me, that the only way to God is through his son who was sacrificed. And, accepting that, submitting and surrendering to Christ, I did learn that, but I don't think I actually accepted it, um, or that I actually surrendered. So essentially, I went to this church, thought I got saved. I ended up going to Bible college. And at Bible college, over a 2-year span, I wound up realizing that what I thought I wanted to do was just what I thought everybody else wanted me to do, rather than what God intended for me to do, if that makes sense. So, but I couldn't have had direction in a manner that was faith driven because I didn't have faith. So, I left school. I started to deny God completely as if he didn't exist. And over the years, he would continually draw me back by just the most unexpected people. I went to college in Missouri, and when I moved back to Ohio, it just so happened that a bunch of guys from school there that I had never met until I went to school there were from where I was originally from, which is Cincinnati, Ohio. When I moved back to Cincinnati, I started working for my dad's company, and just throughout time being home, I would randomly be contacted by different people and found out that they were in town and that they were close by. Started a fantasy football league, and it's been a dynasty league that we've done for like 7 years, maybe 8 years, and it's been a really fun thing to do. But I was running from God rather than toward Him. So every time I'd run into somebody that was of the faith, it was like, will you just leave me alone? Um, will you just, God, will you just leave me alone? And he continued to come back at me. Another person, completely separate from the fantasy football league, came to work at my dad's company, who has been a huge impact on my life, who also happened to go to the same college in Missouri that I went to at kind of separate times. We overlapped for like 6 months where he was there, but we never knew each other. So he ended up coming to work for us. He was good friends with my brother-in-law, and we became friends. And over time, he would continually talk to me about God, and I'd be like, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. And over time, that just kind of, I respected him because he was an example of Christ. We'll say that. So fast forward many years, um, about 4 years ago, we moved from Ohio to Florida. And when we moved to Florida, that is when I actually submitted to Christ and had a confession of faith in Him. And I started to learn about Him. And over time, some suffering happened in my life that ultimately halted the growth. And then on top of that, I had an ideology that I believe is incorrect. Um, it's Calvinism, and I do believe that the points of Calvinism are correct, but I believe the way that it was explained to me was incorrect. And the ultimate conclusion that came out of the incorrect explanation from multiple people about that, led me to a complete and utter paralysis of faith. It was a paralysis in the sense that I didn't want to talk to my kids about God. I knew that I believed in God and I knew that Jesus is Lord, but I was afraid I was going to lie to them. And I cannot do that. I just could not talk to them about things without certainty. Um, so, and I don't want to say certainty because I don't think that you can necessarily know with certainty that God exists, but you can believe it and have faith that the Bible is true. So in saying that, I did not have the faith needed and a belief that was founded in something that I could stand on with truth. Um, so I withdrew. I hid away. I did not seek or pursue God. I stayed away from it for a period of time for about 2 years. And then recently, about 6 weeks ago, some things happened. Nothing really spectacular, but I started to watch some videos of Jordan Peterson and some Christian apologists, like John Lennox. He's amazing, and Frank Turek had some involvement in that. And in watching those, God has really opened my eyes. And I basically went into it with the spectrum of just ignore the Calvinist belief system for now and seek truth. And over this 6 weeks, God has really revealed things to me. And I had been praying. I prayed for this one time, and the prayer, it was really the first time I felt like my prayer, I believed in it, that I believed that the prayer could come to fruition. And within a week, this was about 3 days ago, he revealed to me the error in the thinking that I had come to with Calvinism. And he restructured my thought process to where I fully believe. I have faith, and he has revealed, and it's been like just like explosion after explosion after explosion of realizations that he has revealed to me by removing the paralysis. It was like I was paralyzed to the point that I could not eat. I could not, and by eat I mean spiritually, I could not take in the things of the Spirit because I was so paralyzed. by the false ideology that I had been believing for so long that I finally see the light. That's the best way of saying it. So, in this, um, I'm going to continue to study the Word. I'm going to learn more about creation. I believe that God created the world. I believe that He sent His Son to save us. I believe that when Adam sinned, we were destined to die, both physically and spiritually, and God had every right to never intervene in our lives at all and let us go to condemnation because that's what we deserved. But He is a just God, which is why He would have been fully justified in sending us our separate way. But He's also a merciful God, and He does intervene, and He brings people to Him for salvation. So, um, in saying that, I believe that so Second Peter talks about faith and how to supplement faith, and you supplement your faith through virtue, knowledge, patience, perseverance, godliness, brotherly love, charity. And as you explore each of those supplemental aspects of faith, your faith grows tremendously. It is a strangely true thing that you can't experience until you do it. Obedience is what is going to beget transformation, and obedience has done that in my life in an exponential way over the last 6 weeks that has expanded my faith to a level that I never thought it could be. So, in saying that, there are people that I'm thankful for, so I will name them. My best friends here in Live Oak, Florida, are Dan, Andrew, Chris. Those three men have been around me since I moved here. They have been a huge benefit to my life, my family, my spiritual awakening, we'll say. And I'm thankful for them for being willing to continue through my issues as my friend to encourage me to move forward. Now, on top of them, I'm very, very thankful for my mother and father. They did not raise me in it was a Christian home, you would say, because my dad would say he was Christian, but we never went to church. My parents tried a couple times. We never connected at a church, and I was not necessarily raised in a biblical way. Um, but I am very thankful for the encouragement that they've given me. I am repentant for how I've treated them over many years, but I am very, very thankful for their willingness to always be there for me. And then other names are John Lennox, Jordan Peterson, Frank Turek. Jordan Peterson is doing an Exodus Roundtable discussion, and all the gentlemen in that Exodus Roundtable have been a huge boon to my faith, and I'm thankful for them as well and the time that they took to put that Exodus together. So, but that's it for this first video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Um, and I'll be continuing on with some more things as the weeks ahead come forward. So, thank you and have a blessed rest of your day.